Hi, Paul Akers here. I want to show you a couple really good techniques on how to glue up crown molding. Now, I get a lot of calls from time to time, people saying, well, the 2P-10 doesn't quite work, it's too brittle. Well, I'm going to tell you two different techniques. One is to use yellow glue with the 2P-10, and the other one is to actually just use the right amount of 2P-10. Now, I've done two test joints here I want to break right at the beginning of this presentation to kind of show you how strong 2P-10 works and how well it works, frankly, with yellow glue. Most people say, what? How could you do that? Well, let me show you. First of all, this one has been glued with both yellow glue and 2P-10. Two little dots of 2P-10 there. And when I go to break this, you can see I got an incredibly good joint. The glue joint broke right out, or actually the wood broke, not the glue joint. And then this is crown molding where I did the same technique, and I'll demonstrate that technique. Okay, so here's what happened. We put the 2P-10, you can see the drops right there, and the yellow glue right there. We got a nice strong joint. Now, this is how that technique is done. First, you take your yellow glue and you put it on there. And the big thing with any glue joint is you want to get it wetted in. You want to have enough glue on there to actually penetrate into the pores of the wood. So I'm putting a little glue on there just like this. I'm saving back just the two ends, just a little bit, for the 2P-10. Then real quickly, before I do anything else, I'm going to make sure the other side of the joint is wetted in. Make sure I got plenty of glue and I'm not getting a dry joint. Just like that. Okay, so there's my glue. So now the next step is to take our 2P-10 and apply a little bit of that. And what this does is it basically acts as a nail. And so instead of having a brad nail to have to fill, you've just got the 2P-10, which does all the fixturing, if you will. So there's two small drops. I'm keeping the 2P-10 back off the front edge. Don't get it too close because you don't want it coming out because it's difficult to wipe 2P-10 off. Then I'm going to take my activator right here and I'll just spray a little bit. That's the nice thing about the straw too, is you can get it right where you want it. See how I got that perfectly? Now I'm going to take my joint and we will glue it up if I can get the right side here. It's early in the morning here at FastCap. Every once in a while we don't even know what we're doing. Okay, so now I'm going to take it. Now I'm going to make sure I line it up. I don't have a lot of time with the 2P-10. Okay, push it together, hold it. And the reason why I'm doing this is 2P-10 is an awesome glue. Its main advantage is the speed and strength, but it is a little bit brittle from time to time, and it doesn't take a lot of huge impact. Where the alphatic resin has a lot of elasticity, but glues very slow and is very difficult to work with. So now I'm just going to wipe off the excess glue, and as you can see, it's already held together perfectly. I'm ready to install or whatever I want to do. And that joint is done. And that's how easy it is. So I got a nice strong joint, the alphatic resin's drying, the 2P-10 is already set, and we're ready to go. Now the next thing I'm going to do is show you how to just use 2P-10. Again, the big thing here that people have problems with is they get a dry joint. So when I put on the glue, I'm going to make sure I use enough glue, number one, and number two, I'm going to make sure I put the glue on the back edge, right along here. Because I definitely do not want to get the glue going out to the front edge because then we got a cleanup problem. Now I've got quite a bit of glue on there. Now before I do anything else, I'm going to try to get a wet joint. I'm going to try to make sure that I've got enough glue on there. And because I haven't had an activator, I'm okay. You can see it's starting to dry out a little bit right now. So I say we use a little bit more glue because if you get a dry joint, it's not going to work. And I don't have to hurry here because I haven't had an activator yet. And what's happening also is the glue is priming the wood, if you will. So I'm getting it on there, making sure I've got it pretty much, yeah, so I've got a nice wet joint there, and I'm pretty much ready to go. So now I have two choices here. I could spritz that glue just a split second with activator, which would allow it to set up, or I can hold the joint together very, very firmly. Make sure I get everything lined up there. I can hold the joint together very firmly for about, 15 seconds, and the glue will begin to catalyze, and then I can actually activate it from the back side. I'll show you how I'm going to do that in a minute. And you can see I got maybe just a little bit too much glue right there, but that's easy to carve off. You can knock that off because it's just barely any at all. So I've held that together. Now it's starting to set, Then I'll come from the back side and spray the activator, and that will wick into the joint and begin the catalyzing process. And we want to wait maybe about 4 or 5 minutes before we try to install this joint or before we torque it. But those are the two methods that are very easy. You can see I've got this, it's actually glued right to there, and I've started to pull it apart there just a little bit. So let me hold it again. If I want, I could activate it from the front like this as well, but I want to avoid doing that because of finishing issues. I don't want to get this material on there. If I do, I need to clean it with denatured alcohol and make sure all the activator is off before I go into the finishing process. But I did catalyze that little bit right there, and see how it picks right off. You can get that off very simply. And there you go. That joint is done and ready to go, and you see it started to catalyze from the back. When I moved it just a little too fast that one time. But so you've got a nice clean joint here. You've got it catalyzing from the back, a little from the top. We don't really want to do that all the time. But that is the process. And now I've got enough glue on there with the 2P-10 that the joint got wetted in. And when it's wetted in, that material, the glue, soaks into the pores and allows for a good strong joint. That's the #1 problem people have with 2P-10 is they get a dry joint. Thanks for watching.